Welcome to another tutorial by Marissa. Today we're going to learn how we take an old painting that we don't like and turn it back into a white canvas. So for this you'll need some sandpaper, an old painting you don't like, some acrylic gesso, and either some of these foam brushes or regular brushes. I just like these for this better because it's easier. And that's all you need. So first, we'll take the sandpaper. And honestly, the sandpaper is optional, but I don't like to use it to not use it because you can still see some of the thicker parts of the paint underneath the white gesso. So first, we'll take the sandpaper and we'll go over any spots that are thicker that will maybe show up in the painting that we don't want to show up in the next one. Okay, now that we're all done sandpapering, which might take longer than others in some paintings, depending on how many little bumps in the paint you have on your painting. There's one thing that I forgot to mention. After I sandpaper, I like to use a little hair dryer. Just to blow off all the sand. Look at that, it's still on there. Maybe take a paper towel or a rag to just wipe all that off. Look at that. Maybe do it one more time. Awesome. So now that we're done with that part, this is where we're gonna take our gesso. And I have a link to some good gesso that you could buy. This is a little older and cheaper, so I wouldn't suggest getting this. So I bought this at Walmart years ago. I think a newer, better version might be better. And I'll have some links to those on the blog. So I just take this and pour it all over. Oh, see, this is what I'm talking about. That's really gross. And you don't want that thick paint on there because it'll get stuck and be clumpy. You just take your brush and go over everything. And if you do find some big clumps, take those out. You won't if you bought new gesso. If you've had it for a few years, you might. That's why I suggest buying new gesso and a nicer type. Doesn't have to be pretty. This first layer is not gonna cover much. You're gonna have to do multiple layers for this. So don't be worried if you still can see the painting underneath in this first layer. And don't forget about the sides. If you have paint on the edges, you want to cover that up too. Alright, now that we're done with the first layer, all we have to do is wait for it to dry and then we'll add a second coat. So we'll go from there. Alright, once your layer has dried, you want to look back through and make sure there aren't any little bumps. Look, there's one right there that are still from the last painting. And if there are, that's okay. There's a little one right there. You just take the sandpaper again and we want to sand that down. Just like before. And now we're ready for our next layer of gesso. Again, don't forget about those edges. We're just gonna let it dry again and repeat for one last time, and I think that will do it. Okay, now that our layer has dried, we can go ahead and see if one more layer will do the trick or if we'll need more than that. I'm running low on gesso, so bear with me. At this point, you'll want to make sure all your strokes are the same direction. Since this might be the last layer, we want to make sure everything looks uniform. Alright, now that I finished this layer, it looks like we might need one more layer, unless you're doing, you're going to paint something on here where it's pretty dark, then you might not need another layer. But definitely if you want to paint something light, you'll want to do another layer so you don't see any of this background that you can definitely still see through here.